Arizona does not warn you before it breaks you. When the thermometer climbs past 110 degrees, the pavement does not just burn, it radiates. The air thickens. Movement becomes a risk. For people with a home, this is an inconvenience. Close the blinds, run the ack, pour something cold. But for thousands of men, women, and families living on Arizona streets there, is no ack, no blinds, no cold drink waiting in the fridge. There is only the sun and the concrete and another day to survive. I did not think I would end up here. I had a job, I had a place, then one thing happened, then another. My kids do not understand why we cannot go home. I do not know how to explain it to them. 3 years I have been out here, and I am still fighting. This is Arizona in 2026, one of the fastest growing states in America. One of the hottest climates on the planet, and a homelessness crisis that is quietly becoming one of the most severe in the country. Welcome to GlobePath. Today we are pulling back the curtain on what survival actually looks like in the desert. The numbers the headlines skip past, the systems that are straining under pressure, and the real human cost of a state where growth and poverty are living side by side. Stay with us until the end, because what is happening here is bigger than Arizona. It is a warning for every American city. If this kind of accountability journalism matters to you, subscribe to GlobePath, drop a like, and tell us in the comments what part of this crisis concerns you most. Section 1, the numbers behind the crisis. Before we talk about heat, before we talk about shelter, we need to talk about scale. Because this is not a small problem tucked away in one neighborhood. This is a crisis spread across an entire state. In Maricopa County alone, which is home to Phoenix, and one of the fastest expanding metro areas in the country, the most recent point in time count identified 9726 people experiencing homelessness. Of those, more than 4,500 were completely unsheltered. Sleeping outdoors, no roof, no walls, no protection from temperatures that can kill. Statewide housing analysts have identified a shortage of over 1,000 residential units. That is not a rounding error. That is a structural collapse in the foundation of affordable housing. And the reasons people end up on the street are not dramatic in the way movies portray. They are quiet. A landlord raises rent by $300, a worker gets injured and misses 2 months of income, a medical bill arrives and wipes out every dollar saved. The margin disappears, and there is nowhere left to go. Some people count days since they lost housing. Others count years. What connects them is not failure. It is the absence of a safety net wide enough to catch them. Think about this for a moment. If the cushion underneath your finances was suddenly gone, with no savings, no family to call, and no backup plan, how many weeks would stand between you and the street? For hundreds of thousands of Americans, that distance is shorter than most people want to admit. Section 2, the promise that did not reach everyone. Arizona has spent years selling itself as a land of reinvention. Warm weather, low taxes, a booming economy. Come here, the message goes, and you can start over. Build something, breathe easier. For many people, that promise delivered. New businesses, new neighborhoods, new arrivals every week. The Phoenix Metro has been one of the fastest growing regions in the entire country. But growth has a shadow. As more people moved in housing, demand exploded. Developers built, but not fast enough, and rarely for the people who needed it most. Rents climbed 30, 40, sometimes 50% over a few years. Wages in service jobs, hospitality, and logistics did not come close to keeping pace. In Maricopa County, eviction filings in a recent 12-month period exceeded 8,000 cases. That is not 8,000 bad decisions. That is 8,000 in households pushed to the edge by a market that moved faster than their ability to hold on. Some of the people now living on Arizona streets arrived here chasing exactly the same opportunity the state advertises. They just ran out of runway before they could land. The city keeps growing, the skyline keeps rising, and in the shade beneath those new buildings, people are trying to figure out where they will sleep tonight. Section 3. When the heat becomes the enemy, let us be direct about something that most reports mention once and then move past. Heat kills. In Arizona, it kills more people than floods, hurricanes, or tornadoes, and it disproportionately kills people without housing. Maricopa County has recorded triple-digit heat deaths year after year, with unhoused individuals making up a devastating share of those fatalities. When temperatures hold above 110 degrees for days at a time and nighttime lows barely dip below 90, the human body has almost no window to recover. For someone living outside, every decision becomes heat-related. When to move, when to stay still, where the next cup of water is coming from, how to find shade that actually lasts more than an hour as the sun shifts across the sky. Water is not a convenience out here. It is a calculation. Carry too little and you are in danger. But water is heavy, and when you are already carrying everything you own, every ounce matters. Maricopa County operates more than 250 heat relief sites during peak summer months. Outreach teams work daily routes checking on people distributing water and trying to persuade those most at risk to get indoors. But the math is brutal. Over 4,500 unsheltered individuals, 250 sites. A county that spans nearly 9,000 square miles, the sun does not take days off, and for far too many people out there, neither does the danger. Section 4 life, stripped down to its basics, most people have never had to think about where their next shower will come from. That is not a criticism. It is just reality. Running water is invisible infrastructure until it is gone. For people living without housing in Arizona cities, the absence of ordinary necessities is not a background inconvenience. It structures every single hour of the day. Water sources have to be memorized. Which parks have working fountains? Which outreach vans come through on which days? Which gas stations will not turn you away? Food distribution windows open at specific times and close quickly. Miss the window and you wait until tomorrow. Shower access exists, but it is limited and often requires a specific shelter enrollment or a long travel across the city. Laundry is a full-day endeavor. Clean clothes matter more than people realize. They are the difference between getting a callback after a job application or not. And sleep is never fully safe. Belongings get taken. Noise is constant. Being woken up in the middle of the night is a routine part of life out here. According to 2026 Maricopa County Continuum of Care data, more than 4,500 people are navigating all of this without any consistent indoor access, managing their entire lives in public space and relying on rotating facilities and limited hours. The weight of it does not announce itself as suffering. It accumulates quietly. The exhaustion of 100 small negotiations every day. Where to sit, where to store things, how to stay clean enough to keep a caseworker appointment. That is what wears people down. Not one big crisis, 1,000 small ones every single day. Section 5, the gap between need and help here, is something the system does not like to say out loud. Wanting help and being able to access it are two completely different things. Arizona has mental health services. It has substance use treatment programs. It has case managers and outreach workers and crisis lines. These are real. The people staffing them are working hard. But the volume of need has outpaced the infrastructure designed to meet it. Wait times for mental health appointments can stretch weeks and sometimes months. Transportation to those appointments for someone without a car and with an unpredictable daily schedule is its own obstacle. Some people gather the courage to ask for help and are told the earliest available slot is 6 weeks out. 6 weeks is a long time when you are sleeping outside in 108-degree heat. Data from recent continuum of care assessments shows that a significant share of unsheltered individuals in Maricopa County carry long-term behavioral health needs. Conditions that are harder to treat when someone is under constant environmental stress and their sleep is perpetually disrupted. Shelters and navigation centers in the Phoenix area report that connecting someone to consistent ongoing support often requires multiple attempts and coordinated follow-up across agencies with staff ratios that the current system simply cannot sustain at scale. This is not a story about people who do not want help. It is a story about a system that was built for a different era, a different volume, and a different level of crisis than the one Arizona is now facing. Section 6, what the government is actually doing credit where it is due. Arizona's response to this crisis has not been silence. There has been real action that is measurable, documented, and in some cases producing genuine results. Phoenix has added more than 1,600 new shelter beds since 2022. Navigation centers now combine overnight capacity with active case management, helping people move toward housing rather than simply cycling through emergency intake. Safe outdoor spaces give individuals a structured and safer alternative to completely unsupported street living. Master leasing programs allow the city to hold rental units specifically for people exiting homelessness, bridging the gap while longer-term placements are secured. Eviction prevention funding has been increased. This is an important shift in philosophy. Keeping someone housed costs far less in human and financial terms than helping them recover after they have lost everything. In Tucson, local housing emergency declarations have redirected resources toward both new affordable units and better coordination between the many agencies involved in the response. The 2026 point-in-time count showed a 14% increase in sheltered individuals and a 12% decline in the unsheltered count in Maricopa County. Those numbers represent real people who had a roof on a cold January night who might not have had one a year before. But here is what those numbers also show. The system is still absorbing more people than it is moving out. Shelter capacity is expanding, but not faster than the flow of people entering homelessness. And without enough permanent affordable housing on the other end of the pipeline, the whole structure strains. Progress is real. The gap is also real. Both things are true. Section 7, the approaches that ARE actually working across Arizona a pattern is starting to emerge. Not every program produces the same outcome. The ones that do work share specific qualities and they are worth naming clearly. Low barrier entry combined with strong follow-through. Programs that do not require people to meet a long checklist of conditions before getting help, but that also do not simply hand someone a bed and disappear, are moving more people into stable housing than those operating at either extreme. Speed of connection matters. The faster a person can be linked to housing navigation after their first point of contact with the system, the better the outcome. Every week of delay increases the likelihood of disengagement. Employment-linked housing support gives participants both a practical bridge and a sense of forward motion. Income and housing stability pursued together produce stronger results than either alone. Landlord partnership expansion has opened units in neighborhoods where options previously did not exist, reducing the geographic concentration of poverty. Local data from Phoenix and Maricopa County confirm what the research has long shown. Higher case manager to client ratios and access to flexible financial assistance produce measurably better exit rates from homelessness than thinly resourced alternatives. The lesson is consistent. Housing paired with real support works. Temporary containment does not. None of this is cheap, none of it is fast, but the outcomes are clear enough that the direction of investment should not be in question. Section 8, where Arizona goes from here, Arizona is not standing still. The data from 2026 shows both how far things have come and how far they still need to go. More people are sheltered than before. More programs are connecting people to permanent housing. More cities are treating this as the infrastructure crisis it is, rather than a lifestyle problem to be managed away. But the underlying forces have not gone away. A shortage of over 1,000 housing units does not resolve in a single budget cycle. A climate that turns lethal every summer does not get more forgiving. And a population that keeps growing, bringing with it the full range of economic vulnerability that growth always carries, does not slow down to wait for the system to catch up. What can change is the consistency of the response, the willingness to measure what works and fund it. The recognition that people living without homes are not a separate category of human being. They are members of the same communities carrying the same fundamental needs and facing circumstances that any of us could encounter faster than we would like to believe. A job loss, a health crisis, a market that moves faster than your savings can follow. The distance between stability and the street is shorter than most people think. The work happening in Phoenix, in Tucson, in cooling centers and navigation offices and outreach vans is real, and it matters, and it needs to continue. Thank you for watching this all the way through. In a world designed to keep your attention moving, staying with a story this heavy and this human is a choice, and it matters. At GlobePath, we follow the money. We trace the systems. We ask who made the decisions that led here and what it would actually take to make things different. Because the homelessness crisis in America is not random. It has causes, it has paper trails, and it has solutions if there is enough political will to fund them. If this documentary gave you something to think about, please like the video and subscribe to GlobePath. Every subscriber tells the algorithm that this kind of journalism deserves to reach more people. Drop a comment below. What do you think is the single biggest failure driving the American homelessness crisis?